Hi, so we need to create a conversation. It's becoming increasingly evident to me and many individuals, as I'm going to show you that even individuals who are in these independent media communities themselves are provoking these thoughts that are common among all of us, and the fact that things need to change. People agree that things need to change. And so it is no surprise to me why I'm hearing that in such a world such as now, which has requirements for that change. And so Highimpactflix recently put out a video called America's End is Upon Us. And, I'm going to read some comments in a second, but I do want to mention that there needs to be a conversation about action, and this is something I've been talking about for the past couple months, and it's only becoming increasingly evident that we need some sort of movement to bring people together and change the world. A worldly encouragement for personal action and taking action within our own lives to wake up those who are in the dark. Basically, using our human nature of speaking and creating projects and videos as such as this to spread the word about not just knowledge and information but transformation. And I even verified these requirements because having a movement is required by law. If you know, and I know you're familiar, Highimpactflix, with Mark Passio's own slides, what he calls the true great work. What is it? It says it's required that we have numbers for the true great work. Requires that we have numbers. So what's going to do that? Well, it's not just the movement that I've proposed, okay? I can give you other examples. There's another movement called unism or unism, which I can show for you there on the screen, and there's another one called Unite Awake, and I know the individual who runs that as well. And then there's of course my movement, so to speak. I say quote unquote movement, but it's just to bring people together and create this conversation. The least we can do is create the conversation in the independent media because many individuals are not creating that conversation. The conversation about the action that is necessary. Now, many individuals are saying, well, move here, move there, get this, get that, be prepared. Great. But what's going to solve the root cause of the problem is what we also have to look at. And we want to make something sustainable, something that will last through the ages, right? Something that won't cause this another cycle of harm that has manifested within itself. Like, for example, you may see America falling as the equivalent to another nation that has fallen in the past, this sort of 200 to 300 year cycle, like the Tytler cycle explains. And so it is no wonder why I've been talking about this so much on my channel, and I will only increase my efforts as I see it so necessary, because such a video titled, this is the end of America, America's end is upon us, and you even see, channels such as End Times Productions doing the same thing. A lot of these individuals feel hopeless, or that they want change, they don't know how. And for me, that's troublesome because I've been detailing how we can do this, and many others have, just like I gave some examples. So let's look at some comments here. And you can see one of them says, great empires rise and fall. America blew it just like everyone else throughout history. We are in the last stages of decline, which are the corrupt, dissident, immoral stages. It's heartbreaking to watch. Okay, so I produced over 17 hours verifying the action that is required for the natural law to go into effect. And if you know about the natural law, I know that you've used Mark Passio's natural law slides before in your videos, which is why I'm telling you that, Highimpactflix, in case you're watching this, or community members. You've used those slides before because you know that the natural law leads way to this freedom of a world that we all want to live in, right? We want to live in a world that's more free. No surprise here, most of us actually do. So how do we actually acquire it is then the question, right? And if great empires rise and fall, how about we understand why they rise and fall in the first place, right? We know by the law of freedom, for example, as morality increases, freedom increases. As morality declines, freedom declines. These are ideas that perhaps should go in the public. How many people actually liked when David Icke held his rally, for example, in England, and he's holding more? Why aren't more people holding rallies, especially with their presence online? This is another question. A lot of people enjoy it. I know there's a lot of fear in the process, a lot of, putting ourselves on the line, but people want to hear that. People want to know there's other individuals out there who are willing to stand up for them. And then you're also providing the platform for whistleblowers to come out and expose more information that perhaps has to get out there. not to mention. So as much as I like, putting out video content and so forth, we do need to have our active efforts in real life. And the least we can do, we can start with at least, is get the independent media to be on board with wanting to encourage people to take in real life action. That's just what I have to say, in my opinion. Okay, again, I want to open this discussion. I don't see why this discussion can't be talked about more, and I'd be willing to talk about it with anyone, and even the organizations that I mentioned as well. I wouldn't even call them organizations. They're just people like you and I who are just trying to find solutions. Can we talk about solutions, actual solutions? Having our local, team ups against, if there's going to be crime or whatever in the area is cool. And there's a lot of other ways that people have done it. Freedom Cells, for example, through the Conscious Awakening. I believe that's what it's called. Conscious Resistance is a channel on YouTube. So they've done work with this as well. No surprise to me, again, that people are trying to find solutions, but we really need one that is going to change the world. And so we have to really talk about that. This is not something that perhaps one individual can only work on themselves. That's why I'm asking for help. That's why I'm reaching out. And another thing, most people I know personally understand that something is seriously wrong with America. They all either do not care or throw their hands and say, what can we do? And, I saw another comment like that saying, well, most people just say, well, it is what it is. I mean, yeah, that is sad. That's showing the lack of care within society. And I would have to agree with all these comments on this video, again, saying America's end is upon us. But the problem is that do individuals understand the solution? As simple as it may be, look at what Larkin Rose said with his video called The Solution. What did he say it was? It was conversation. If we're not creating this conversation that is perhaps necessary, like I mentioned, then what are we trying to do here? We're just waiting for fate, waiting for harm to manifest. If we want to reduce harm to the maximum, we increase our efforts and put ourselves out there to try to awaken others in the process. And so, this is something I'm doing in real life with individuals, and I'm showing others through my works and through my channel and so forth. But I'm also trying to get out there in the independent media because I realize how effective they are. Millions of people right there and then can already create so much change if we just open this conversation. That's it. Okay? So, it's really, really sad. I see some of these comments here. Civil war against the government. Yeah, some people think they can just bring violence into the scenario. We have to talk about that too. That is not something that is actually sustainable when it comes to solutions. Another person says we live in a is what it is mindset now. I can't stand it. And everybody's like, nor can I. I want it now. We want change. But where's the part where individuals say we can be the change? This is the questions I'm asking here. And I'm like, well, I documented this in over 60 plus hours, and of course I don't expect everybody to understand it right away. This is something completely new that hasn't been introduced before, but I've been tackling these issues for months now, and all I need is individuals to help spread the word, right? It's verified by natural law, these actions, because I detailed in over 17 hours, and I have even more specific actions coming up. I'm working on that currently. I have a whole presentation lined up. I've only done 50 slides out of 191. I have many slides already detailing this as a presentation within itself, but it's not going to do anything without people putting that into effect. So, talk about transformation. We actually have to apply the information to our lives. So I hope you can see what I'm getting at with here. So you have movements such as Unism, like I said, Unite Awake, and then you have mine, which is Nature is the Answer, or Unite, for what it's also called, right, with AE actually standing for the law of nature. So Unita or Unite, and that's why I have it on Nita.1, the website, as you can see. So it's just bizarre to me how many people are talking about, well, this is what's going on, and this is madness, everything, but what about what we can actually do, and can we inspire others to actually do it, right? We need some inspiration. We need energy in the picture. Getting out there and encouraging others to join us in the process. But it's not going to be protests. It's not going to be protests necessarily. It's just the conversation. It's just the presence. the presence and awareness, which is why my material starts with material that asks questions, that causes conversation, right? You sell shirts, for example, Highimpactflix, right? Those shirts are to do what? To create conversation. What if we were to create a conversation around a unified cause around all of independent media? This, again, is just a conversation, just an idea, and I would love to talk about it. But we do need to have that conversation. I'm not asking to have that, you don't have to have that conversation with me, but at least have it on your channel and with your followers, for some of them might have some really good ideas. I bet there are people out there, because I just listed, 3 different types of movements that are trying to do what they can, and I'm sure there are many others. So thank you for watching. This is it for me. I just want to create that conversation. I'm so, done with seeing all these videos, and when I see that there is a solution and I know those solutions, do you think it would drive me insane to see that nobody's actually following through with it? Yes, even though it's the independent media that claims to, know it all. Well, we can know it all we want, but until we put anything into action, nothing's ever going to truly change. And let's really create that conversation that is necessary, and then we can really get into those specific action steps. I think part of this process is also holding independent media accountable, and this is something that No More News has done. This is something that you have done, Highimpactflix, when it comes to InfoWars and other more mainstream independent media. That will also be necessary, right, in this process, and sort of that's what I'm doing here with you, may you see, is asking the question, well, you are doing your best, but what if I have a perspective on the world that can help enhance that, your perspective, into the actions we can take, right? So there's questions that we have to ask, and I want to be able to clarify my positions on this matter. I know that there can be a lot of questions about it and skepticism. No surprise to me with that either. But we have to move forward, and we have to be together on this process, and we have to move on strong into the next generations with learning from history in order to not repeat it. And we have to move toward what we know to be right by natural law, and many people in the Mark Passio community are among this, trying to find action in the keeping the truth community, this truth movement they call themselves, yet they're unorganized and unstructured. What we need to do is actually structure it to some degree, not to a high degree and become this system that we're fighting against. No, we don't want that. But we can make some simple grassroots change with a little bit of unification efforts around the understanding of the natural law and universal truths that are here. We all feel what's going on. We all feel the energy. We all know that something isn't right. We all know that this political system is just all there for divide and conquer. So what can we do about this if everybody's playing into these games or just gullible or feel like they can't do anything? We have to inspire people and show them that they can do something. That's number 1. And then number 2 is guiding them and providing them with the structure to help carry them that's out within their own lives and throughout all our lives that we can manifest together. We make up this environment. We are the change, so let's be it. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe, like, and do whatever you wish. It's up to you. You are free in this life, and if you want to know how to change the world truly, please, I encourage you to check out my website, Nita.one. It's here for all of us, actually. It's not my website. It is my website, but it isn't. It's here for us all. We're all messengers. We're all fellow human beings. Let's change the world truly, and we can do it with Nita.one. Nature's the answer.